The Kyiv's Air Force has claimed that Russia attacked Ukraine with about 38 drones overnight. Ukraine says that it has destroyed about 26 of them, but the grain-exporting Danube river port of Izmail has been hit again. The Odessa's regional governor has said that the drones hit the port infrastructure around Izmail, damaging about 30 vehicles and injuring 2 drivers during the 2-hour attack. Now, the attacks came a day after Russia launched what the Ukrainian military called as a massive aerial attack on southern Ukraine, hitting the Odessa port and also destroying the grain storages. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that the first American-made Abrams tanks have been delivered to Ukraine. Now, the arrival comes months ahead of initial estimates and in time to be used in Ukraine's counter-offensive against Russian forces. Now, according to the US defense authorities, more Abrams tanks will be delivered to Kyiv in the coming months. Now, the tanks have long been amongst the most effective pieces of US military equipment, and these tanks are significantly more advanced than some of the Soviet-era models deployed by the Russian and the Ukrainian militaries. Their powerful jet engines enable them to operate in the toughest of terrain and conditions. And hundreds of ethnic Armenians have fled Nagorno-Karabakh to Armenia just days after Azerbaijan seized control of the breakaway territory in a military offensive. Armenia's Prime Minister has claimed that ethnic cleansing is underway in the region. Azerbaijan, which has repeatedly denied any claims of ethnic cleansing, has said that the rights of the Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh will be guaranteed. And according to reports, more than 6,500 people have crossed into Armenia from Nagorno-Karabakh. Now, Azerbaijan has said that it wants to reintegrate the ethnic Armenians as equal citizens. In a letter to the Armenian Prime Minister, US President Joe Biden said that Washington is ready to address the humanitarian needs in the region. At least about 20 people have been killed and over 200 others injured in an explosion at a fuel depot in Azerbaijan's Nagorno-Karabakh region. This, as per local Armenian authorities, the injured needed to be taken out of the region urgently for treatment, and most of them are still in a serious condition. And some of those who've been injured in the explosion were treated at a medical facility on a base housing the contingent of the Russian peacekeepers in Nagorno-Karabakh. The Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has said that China opposes wanton expansion of military alliances, squeezing the security space of other nations. Now, Beijing has been critical of Washington's continued attempts to deepen military alliances in the Asia-Pacific. Now, Wang Yi has also said that China is willing to play a constructive role in the success of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or the APEC summit in San Francisco. The U.S. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack has warned that a government shutdown risks nutritional assistance for nearly about 7 million low-income families who rely on benefits. On the other hand, President Biden has expressed that the black community will suffer if the Congress does not provide funding for the federal government after the 30th of September. The U.S. government could close after the 1st of October if the Congress does not approve spending bills due to a dispute between the far-right Republicans. The Congress must allocate funding to 438 government agencies before the 30th of September. The Biden administration is all set to allow Israeli citizens to travel visa-free to the United States. Now, Israel's foreign minister has said that the United States will announce about the visa waiver program later this week. For admission to the program, Washington requires countries to treat all US travelers equally, regardless of whatever other passports that they may hold. Now, in Israel's case, this will mean free passage for Palestinian Americans at its airports and when traveling into and out of the occupied Palestinian territories. Now, the prospect of Israel's entry into the visa waiver program has faced widespread condemnation from the Arab American civil rights advocates. Now, South Korea has hosted the senior diplomats from China and Japan for a trilateral meeting. The meeting is seen as aiming at assuaging Beijing's concerns over Seoul and Tokyo's tightening cooperation with Washington. The South Korean Deputy Foreign Minister has welcomed the Japanese Senior Deputy Foreign Minister and China's Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs. The meeting aims to set the stage for the resumption of the three-way summits between the countries' leaders, which were last held in 2019. And those talks were suspended amidst legal, diplomatic and trade disputes between Seoul and Tokyo. The President Joe Biden met with Pacific Island leaders for a second White House summit. The meeting is being perceived as a charm offensive aimed at curbing inroads by China into a region that Washington considers as strategically crucial. The Biden has pledged to work with the Congress to provide $200 million more in funding for projects in the region. Now, the projects include climate change, economic growth, countering illegal fishing and also improving public health. Moreover, the United States has recognized the Cook Islands and new as sovereign and independent states and has pledged to open diplomatic relations. And scores of migrants on Monday crossed the Rio Grande on foot in their pursuit of reaching the United States. Now, thousands of migrants crossed into the United States in recent days from California to Texas. Many more are still arriving by bus and cargo trains to Mexican border towns on the heels of the record migration flows further south. The dramatic increase along the border, notably in San Diego and the Texan cities of El Paso and Eagle Pass, marks a turning point after numbers had plummeted in recent months. And this has created fresh political challenges for US President Joe Biden heading into the election season. The Sri Lankan Foreign Minister Ali Sabri has slammed Canada and has said that terrorists have in fact found a safe haven in the country. Now, Ali Sabri made the comments on the sidelines of the UNGA summit in New York. He said that the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has a way of just coming out with some outrageous allegations without any supporting proof. And this comes after Trudeau's allegations that the Indian government agents may be linked to the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was shot dead outside of a Sikh temple on the 18th of June in Vancouver. The US Democrat Senator Bob Menendez has rejected calls for his resignation following his indictment on federal bribery charges. The Menendez's stance has defied calls from elected officials in his state of New Jersey, including the state's Democrat governor, to step down. The federal prosecutors in New York have alleged that the couple received hundreds of thousands of dollars and lavish luxury gifts. In exchange, the senator has used his influence to benefit 3 New Jersey business associates and the government of Egypt. Now, the indictment has said that federal agents found stacks of cash hidden throughout Menendez's home during a search last year. The Menendez said that he would in fact address the allegations at the trial. A White Texas gunman who killed 23 people in a racist attack at a Walmart in 2019 has agreed to pay more than $5 million to the families of the victims. The Patrick Crusius was sentenced to 90 consecutive life sentences in July after pleading guilty to federal hate crime charges. The Crusius still faces a separate trial in a Texas court that could end with him getting the death penalty. In 2019, Walmart attack was the deadliest of the mass shooting attacks in the U.S. linked to hate crimes. The President Joe Biden has said that he supports the United Auto Workers strike against the Detroit 3 automakers. And this comes as the agitation now enters into its 10th day. During a presser, Biden has expressed that the UAW workers should benefit from the industry and the growth in the automobile market. The UAW began unprecedented and simultaneous strikes on the 15th of September at one assembly plant, each of the Detroit 3 after the 4-year labor deals had expired. The Detroit 3 automakers have proposed 20% raise over 4 years. However, the UAW is seeking a 40% increase along with a 32-hour work week. The International Criminal Police Organization, commonly known as Interpol, on Monday issued a red corner notice against Karanveer Singh. Now, Karanveer Singh was a member of the banned terror group Babbar Khalsa International, and according to intelligence sources, Singh is believed to have been hiding in Pakistan. And according to the Interpol, Singh is wanted by India for criminal conspiracy, murder offences related to Arms Act and Explosive Substances Act. He is also accused of raising funds for terror activities and conspiracy and being a member of a terror network or organization. The Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has announced that Vietnam has expressed a keen interest in establishing a trade agreement with the Southern Common Trade Market, known as Mercosur. And this announcement took place during an event in Brasilia, where he extended a warm welcome to the Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, as Brazil currently holds the chairmanship of Mercosur. The President Lula emphasized his commitment to forging stronger ties between Mercosur bloc. Now, the trade bloc comprises of Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay and Uruguay and countries in the Asian region. And this development aligns with Mercosur's ongoing efforts to finalize a much-anticipated trade pact with the EU. The U.S. National Snow and Ice Data Center has said that the sea ice that packs the ocean around Antarctica has hit record low levels this winter. The scientists have further added that the impact of climate change at the southern pole is ramping up. Researchers have warned that the shift can in fact have dire consequences for animals like penguins, who breed and rear their young on the sea ice. The Antarctic sea ice extent peaked this year on the 10th of September when it covered 16.956 square kilometers. And this is the lowest winter maximum since satellite records began in 1979. The summer Antarctic sea ice extent is also hit a record low in February, breaking the previous mark that was set in 2022. The heavy rains overnight caused a river in Guatemala's capital to burst its banks, killing at least about 6 people and leaving 13 others missing. 6 homes were swept away after the Las Huecas River, which runs through Guatemala City, overflowed in an area about 3 kilometers south of downtown. And search dogs and recovery teams discovered the bodies of 6 people who died in the floods, including of a young girl who is believed to be about 5 years old. An estimated 8 children are said to be still missing. And experts say that the lack of housing for low-income residents contributes to the construction of informal settlements, often in locations that are prone to natural disasters. The US scientists have spotted a Dumbo Octopus during a deep-sea research dive done by their remotely operated vehicle. Researchers from Ocean Exploration Trust were exploring the ocean floor 1,682 meters deep on an unmanned seamount near the northern Hawaii Islands. The sea creature is so named because of its flapping fins on the side of its head that resemble the famous Disney character. A bioengineering company in London is focusing on a global manufacturing lab cultivated fat to make meat substitutes tastier. Now, the idea is to persuade more people to eat less traditionally farm-reared produce. In January, a report on lab-grown meat by analysts Research and Markets claimed that the industry is projected to be worth a little under $2 billion by 2035. It also pointed out the high demand for plant-based food and the growing vegan population could be an obstacle to the industry achieving this figure. But other scientists and food technology experts point out that while the industry may cut on farming emissions, their carbon footprint isn't necessarily lower. Tomato prices in India have seen a massive fall after crossing over $2.5 per kilogram till about last month. But now, with some bumper produce, farmers in the country are being forced to destroy a lot of their produce, as prices have now fallen to as low as 10 to 12 cents per kilogram. Now, this correction in tomato prices could support India's fight against inflation, but remember, it is not good news for the farmers who are hoping for some kind of a windfall profit this season. The Indian equity indices opened flat amidst subdued global cues, higher for longer global interest rate expectations that are driving continuous foreign outflows from the domestic market. However, the broader markets opened in positive territory as SIP inflows continue to rise in these segments. The boom in Dubai's property market continues to be a top draw for the investors from China, which is in fact a look towards greater economic cooperation, trade and foreign direct investment since the lifting of travel restrictions. The high yields and political stability are the key factors that have triggered a surge in Chinese investments in Dubai.